Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend.
But wait, there's more. Also joining us is our podcasting brother from another mother and the co-host. Oh, well, you're not really the co-host of F This Movie, but you're on F This Movie all the time. It's Adam Riske. Hello, friend.
Yeah, you better take that back. I don't know if I'll get in trouble.
You are on there all the time. I'm sorry, that was a slip of the tongue. He is from F This Movie, where he writes all the time, and he's on the podcast sometimes. And he's on this podcast sometimes.
Yes, I'm not making any power plays. I'm just happy to be
The unofficial co-host. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, everybody. And we're dorking out about 2000's Castaway, which is directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it stars Tom Hanks and a volleyball. I think that's it, right? That's pretty much it. And
Her name is Helen Hunt.
Oh. She has a name, Sonia.
Oh my god.
So awful. I'm the worst. Okay. So Adam, I think this was your pick. Did you see Castaway in the movie theater?
I definitely saw Castaway in the movie theater. This movie was a huge deal to me when it came out.
Was it a huge deal because you were super into Tom Hanks and you love Forrest Gump and that's why,
Sort
or
of.
just the idea of it was what you loved?
I think it was like a combination of three things. One was what you said with it, like Tom Hanks was on this ridiculous run during this period, and every movie he was in was like an event movie just because he was in it. It was just like, oh, you're going to go see the new Tom Hanks movie. And that was that. And that's like what the draw was. And then I thought that the story sounded really interesting. And also it came out during winter break when I was in college one year, and it was like the big movie for that winter break. So I remember like seeing that, The Family Man, and What Women Want were the move that year.
Oh my god. What a triple bill that would be.
Yeah.
I like one of those movies. And it's not What Women Want. Margo, did you see it in the theater?
Yeah, it was released, I believe, at the holidays. And I remember going with my parents to see this movie. And I absolutely loved it. But it's a very quiet film. And my parents were talkers.
Oh, no.
They're those people. Like, they go to, like, will you shut the fuck up and wait till the movie's over and then have this guy? They would just whisper. They thought they were whispering, but they were, anyway. Yeah, it was a struggle to go to movies like this with my parents, but they still loved. They said they loved it, but I have to tell you guys, I've watched it a few times. Skipping forward a bit here, but when Wilson flies away from Tom Hanks, I still get really emotional.
Yeah.
It gives you the feels.
So I saw this movie in the theater too, and I actually texted my sister while I was watching it because around this time, my sister and I were seeing everything together. Like, that's all we did. Like, we lived in a house together, and this was like pre-kids. So, like, a couple times a week, we like went to dinner and we went to the movies. That's what we did. And we saw Castaway. And all I texted her, I just wrote, Wilson! And then she texted me back. What?
Was it the old flip phone?
No, I texted her last night while I was watching it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I sent it to her on her beeper, actually, on her pager.
Jesus, that pager? What were you doing?
So I texted her last night and I just wrote Wilson, and she's like, that's such a good movie. And then we started reminiscing about how when we saw it, when Wilson gets away, we totally cried and we couldn't talk about it for days. Like, remember when Wilson got away? We'd start crying. And she also remembered that when he finally got fire going, the crowd in the theater started applauding.
Oh, I don't remember that.
At least that's what our audience did. But
that's really great, though.
I know. People were very invested in this movie when we saw it. It was like a really fun movie experience for us. We probably saw it opening night, so it was like people who really wanted to see it. And they were super into it. And it's such an interesting movie because, once he gets to the island, it's very quiet. There's no music. And
right.
people were just very invested. And I think maybe Survivor came out around that time, the TV show. So there was kind of this interest in what you would do if you were on a deserted island. So people were super into it.
You completely read my mind, because I was going to ask if Survivor was on yet, because it would have been either that year or like the year before or the year after. And you're totally right. Like, people love to do that what would I do scenario for themselves. And like, this movie is very, audience participation friendly if you go down that route.
Did you guys think a lot about what you would do?
Yeah.
I'd be screwed.
I would be screwed.
I wrote in my notes, I would have a panic attack the first day, probably collapse in the ocean and drown. That's I'm like, I wouldn't even make it past the first day. That's my prediction.
I have skin cancer within a year. I think I there's a lot that I would get wrong. I think the character is very interesting. How much he well, let's just say, like, the plot in and of itself, we can start there. And it does crack me up, because the plot is very much like a Hallmark Christmas movie where you have the harried executive.
Christmas movie gone wrong.
It doesn't take time for the ones who really love that. Doesn't really, there's always time. That's all he ever talks about. He's engaged to Helen Hunt, who's like the loveliest person, most patient person ever. He ditches her on Christmas Day to go, and then gives her engagement ring, like with the hand towels. That made me crazy.
Oh my God, that made me laugh so hard. I was like, nice gifts, jerk, because I had forgotten about the ring.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I would punch him in the balls if he gave me that. But the scenes, there's so much great little scenes that happen that lead you up to it. Like, he has a friend that they travel together for FedEx. Lots of promos for FedEx here. And they're in the plane together, and that's when he realizes his friend's wife has cancer, and he probably never asks about her or how she's doing. It's somebody else on the plane that does it. And then he says to him afterwards, "Oh, I think I know a guy in Atlanta. I could see if I can get a number for you." Like, he doesn't know he doesn't interact with people very well. And he's not very empathetic.
He like talks at people, and he's like all about problem solving. And that sort of it's good that they set up those details in the beginning, because then it's easier for you to buy that he would be able to come up with solutions for different things on the island.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they show, like, doesn't he have like trophies for like sailing, and they show pictures of him on a boat, and little things like that to kind of set up that. I like that they show his like concern with time as well. I like that a lot. And it's so weird though. So the whole thing where like he's in Russia and he's like yelling at these workers like he's a drill sergeant.
Right.
And I don't know.
What is he, like an efficiency expert or something, or like a logistics
systems?
Systems. Okay. Yeah. I was never quite clear, but I remember this was during the time when I was in college, and I was still like expecting my career to be something like a Tom Hanks movie career, like You've Got Mail or Castaway. And I'm like, oh, that's what jobs are. You just go to Russia and you whip people into shape, and then you come home.
Right by the Kremlin, by the way. Like, not even like some bullshit place in Russia. Like, he's in Moscow. Excuse me.
Yeah. It would be great if like that package that he has that he's saving, that he doesn't open, the one FedEx box with the wings on it, just had Snickers bars and CD players in it.
So that was going to be one of my questions. Like, what do we think is in that box?
Well, so it was her sending it to her ex-husband, soon to be ex-husband. Like, what were they sending to each other back and forth? Because so the ex-husband, we find out he's ex-husband because he has a girlfriend in Russia.
Yeah.
And we find he's an ex-husband because it's like, her name Rowena. What's her name?
Patina,
and then like and Andy, let's say, like it's like in metalwork over the entryway, and then when he comes back, like Andy's cut off. Like, she didn't even bother to just say, just like have a big one there. But but he's the efficiency expert. He cares about time. He doesn't like to waste time, and he's been dating Helen Hunt for a long, long time. And he hasn't pulled the trigger, hasn't asked her to marry him. And so everybody's kind of nagging at him about it. And then he gets on a plane, a FedEx plane, and then all hell breaks loose. And it's still super effective when he's on that plane. It scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very jarring with like when they decide to like because they show that like the plane is gonna is in trouble and that they've lost communications and everything and they're sort of flying in the dark. But then he goes into the bathroom and you kind of let your guard down because your movie clock sort of says like, oh, okay, this is like a little beat between the plane crash. Like, it's going to crash. But then like the way that they do it, like right after he takes the Band-Aid off, it's pretty jarring.
It's so jarring. I think it's really well done. It made me very tense. I've seen this movie before. And
right,
still,
you know how it turns out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it still made me super tense and like kind of sweaty where I just like plane crashes or that shit is always scary because you're trapped. There's like nothing you can do.
Well, it's two things. They're landing in water. It's dark water. You can't, and then there's a fire because the plane blows up. And how the hell he gets out? But he's quick enough to grab the floating whatchamacallit that gets him to the raft.
Right, yeah.
And then he gets and then they throw the like engine scene where like he's almost getting sucked into the that thing, and I was like, yeah, let's just throw that in there too. It's not enough that he crashed into the ocean in the dark. Let's throw one more thing in. It's really scary to me. It's really well done.
He needed to tap into some of that Sully magic and take over.
Right? Surely he could land that plane.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that's really scary.
I liked going back and seeing all the stuff that like we used to use in 2000 that are no longer a big deal, like mag lights and day planners and things like that. I've been rewatching a lot of movies from the year 2000 this year to write about at F This Movie, and that's one of my favorite things. It's just sort of like it was a simpler time when we didn't have our phones in our hand the entire day and things like that. It's kind of nice to scale back a little bit.
Yeah. I did think it was interesting when he washed up on the island, like the first thing he checks is his pager. Like and then he checks for his watch with the picture of Kelly. Like his first instinct is surely my pager's fine. Nope. Someone will page me on the island.
I like when he does the crude cave drawing of Helen Hunt, and it sort of just looks like Helena Bonham Carter in Planet of the Apes.
It's the wrong Helen, Tom.
Like, I'm so bad at drawing, but I'm looking forward to that new Burton.
Yeah.
I also like how they have in the early scenes when they're at dinner I think it's at Helen Hunt's family's house. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I always think it's so funny because everybody only cares about Tom Hanks at that table. Like, it's like he has no breathing room whatsoever. Like he could the moment he puts his hand up to his mouth, somebody's just like, is something wrong with your tooth? And then every single thing he does is just like, oh, we need to hear about systems management at FedEx, and nobody else has their own inner life or side conversations. It's just he's holding court. It's great.
I would also be
Nolan, man.
Yeah, I would also be all about Tom Hanks though if I was at that table. I was thinking oh, they shouldn't be doing that. That's the other nightmare scene for me. Oh, they shouldn't all be sitting at a crowded table like that together.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Mm.
How long do you think they've been dating?
They said it's been a couple years.
A few years, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too, yeah.
And I think they set it up where she's the one that's got cold feet. Like she doesn't want to get married or something because she was married once before.
Right. I think she's divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also I also think in the back of her mind, she's like, what's it going to be like to marry to Chuck? He doesn't give a shit about anything but his job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I totally want to see a prequel of him being like younger Tom Hanks working at FedEx, like working his way up, and they can maybe like budget it at like 200 million and sell it to Netflix, and Martin Scorsese can direct it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I'd totally watch it.
Yeah.
I like that they don't cut back to Helen Hunt while he's on the island. I feel like
No, that's the best part of the movie. So
Like,
keep it there.
I feel like another movie would have cut back to Helen Hunt going, "Why haven't you found him? And here's my maps, and I'm doing all my thing, and I'm yelling at people, and playing the kind of put upon girlfriend role that I don't know, maybe Laura Linney would play in Sully years later." Like,
Yeah.
You're
and
describing The Perfect Storm, which also came out in 2000, where
Yep.
it's like you can't stay on the Andrea Gale, like you have to cut back to like Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio like speaking into a radio and saying like, "You're going into the mouth of the monster."
I'm glad they
Or
don't do that.
Diane Lane using a Boston accent.
Oh, yeah.
Whose Boston accent is better, Margo? Diane Lane's or mine?
You
Mine is so bad.
by a country mile.
If y'all haven't listened to our Departed episode, you should. Margot's accent is really good, and mine is just like a valley girl. It's really bad. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I can't do the Boston accent at all.
It's a tricky one.
It is. Yeah.
I can't do Chicago. Excuse me, guys.
I could hear a little Chicago like in your voice, even though you're not from Chicago. I think you could pull it off.
I love that city.
It's good stuff.
It's on
Good
my
stuff, man.
It's on my list to go when we're allowed to travel again.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So what did we think of? So the introduction of Wilson, I think, is one of the most wonderful and unexpected things I've ever seen in a movie. I didn't know it was going to happen when I was in the theater watching the first time, and I was completely. I love that character, and I realize it's just a volleyball with some blood on it, but I'm in.
That's something that drives me crazy about this movie is like Tom Hanks should have won an Academy Award because he's playing two parts. Like he's Wilson. Like, and it's something that is so well done that you're totally like, oh, this volleyball should be nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Yes.
But it's really just, it's all Tom Hanks, interacting with it. He's doing all the heavy lifting and everything. So and God, that Wilson thing just like really took off as sort of like a pop culture item.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I worked at Blockbuster when this movie came out on DVD and video, and at Blockbuster when you bought the movie, they would give you a Wilson car antenna topper.
Oh my gosh. I wish I had that right now. I'm gonna.
Oh my God.
I'm actually gonna write this down. I'm like, I should buy this.
Yeah,
Where's
you could
my
probably
pen?
find one on eBay.
Wilson. I am really writing it down. Antenna topper.
It was awesome.
That is so awesome. I love when he's opening up the FedEx boxes, and I was thinking how he showed incredible restraint by not opening them like immediately. It's kind of the first thing I would do, but then I also thought I might have opened them on the plane, like even before it crashed, because I'm kind of a dick. I'd want to know what's in those boxes.
Yeah, he kind of lucked out with the stuff that he got. Like he found things that were, allowed him to use, videotape as rope, or like that woman's blouse as like a net to catch fish and everything like that. Like he could have found some things that were a lot less, resourceful to have on that island.
Mm-hmm. Like a beach scented candle or something.
Those ice skates were awesome.
Hallmark Christmas movie DVDs.
It's just like, yeah, a bunch of DVDs that says I'll be home for Christmas or something. Wah, wah.
What if at the end of the movie, Chuck doesn't end up with Bettina, but then he decides to go return Wilson to that kid who got the soccer ball as a birthday present? And it's like a horror movie, and the horror movie is called Score Your Grandpa.
You know what? I didn't even think about this. Is that why? Do you think that's why he has the volleyball in the car? Is he just returning things?
I don't know. I never
No.
read it that way. I just imagine like it's Wilson too. Like he just feels comfortable
Yeah.
with it.
That's what I thought
Yeah.
too. I took it as like a security blanket kind of thing where he's like, no, I just need to have this nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what I took. That and the water bottles.
If you
The
think
water
about it,
fetish that he has.
yeah, like, and if you think about it, like, okay, so he loses Helen Hunt, the love of his life. He loses 4 years of his life on this island. But honestly, when he comes back, he's got like a sweet life looking ahead of him because he's gonna have like endless public speaking appearances, like at corporate, and like he's gonna get a fat check from FedEx as like a oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's got it made in the shade. He doesn't have to work ever.
I hate to jump ahead, but his coworkers, I was like, you fucking assholes. They have like a party for him after he gets back. It's all, like, did you see the food? It's all this fucking seafood. I was like, dude, he's been eating nothing but seafood for 4 fucking years. Get him a steak. And then like the guy who's like, no, we could go fishing together. I'm like, fuck that guy. What an asshole.
Well, you find out that he didn't really have the deep relationships that he thought he did.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't clued in. I mean, he becomes a much nicer person and much more thoughtful person. That's that what we're supposed to take from it. I have to say, whoever dressed Helen Hunt and styled her for this movie hated her fucking guts. Especially towards the end.
Right.
They must have she looks terrible. She's wearing things that are really unflattering, that are very matronly and unflattering. The hair, the makeup. She can look really great on camera, and there was no excuse to make her look that
she's
dowdy
a mom.
and dumpy.
She's a mom now, Margo.
Oh,
and moms,
come on.
we don't care about how we look.
She's dressed like a 70s mom. Like a divorced 70s, like that outfit. I mean, all of it. I remember the movie theater, it took me out. I'm like, and every time I see that, I just think they must have hated her. Somebody must have really been pissed at her because it's very unflattering. It makes it very easy for us when Chuck gets away and he sees the cute chick from the farm and he's going after her, right? We all agree about that, right? Like he's heading towards her.
It's funny.
Now I didn't think that in 2000, but now I do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same. That was my same. And back in 2000, I took it as he's literally at a crossroads. And he's I was like, way to hit it right on the nose, but that's fine. I'm like, he's trying to figure out which way to go. And then this time I was like, oh no, he's going back for her. He's going to follow her.
Yeah.
There's two things that make me think that. One is because they make a point of like really underlining the like seeing what the tide brings in line, like right before that scene. And then also he gets a smirk, like the last thing that they show in the movie is him with this smirk on his face. And I recognize that smirk. That's the smirk where like, you're like, you know what? I'm going to get Chinese food for dinner. And then you're like, yeah, Chinese food. That's like what he's going through. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to go after her.
He's got a hell of a story.
This is true. That's an that's an icebreaker right there.
Icebreaker aplenty. They'll never run out of conversation. And she's cute as hell.
Yeah.
It would be great if she's not impressed by any of this and she's like, well, what do you expect? I'm just supposed to do you now and have like 1 million of your babies? Like, I've got no say in this.
I'm sorry. I've been married before. I don't know if I'm ready.
I like to think
take it slow.
I like to think he's going to show up and she has a girl volleyball.
Whoa.
It's like with the same face, but it's like a pink bow. I have a whole sequel in my head. It's
I
really
bet
great.
you there has to be a reel with the crew where Tom Hanks just ran like Forrest Gump. You know, that gif that everybody sends with him running towards her. It's like just for shits and giggles.
One thing about the ending that bothers me, and La La Land does this too, which is they're reunited. The main couple is reunited. So it's like Gosling and Emma Stone. And then like in this, it's like Hanks and Helen Hunt and stuff. And I've never been married, but like the whole time I'm just like, this is the love of your life. It's easy to get a divorce.
Yeah, this is true.
And the kid's
Like
really
you've
young.
got a baby. Okay. You'll still see the baby, but go marry the love of your life.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, Mr. Big is a prick anyway. She'd be better off with Tom Hanks.
Is she really into him? Like we have no reason. I don't know.
He's Plan B. He's Plan B. That's the truth. It sucks for Mr. Big. It's wrong to call him Mr. Big. I know that, but he is Mr. Big. It is. It sucks for him. He's number 2. He'll always be number 2.
And he knows that because when she goes back into that house in that dreadful outfit that's soaked wet, and he's like, "Where the hell? What?"
That's why she's dressed that way, Margo, because he's just a number 2. She don't give a fuck.
You know what? I take it back. There you go. That makes perfect sense.
Also,
she's checked out.
She's supposed to go see Tom Hanks at the airport, and she sends her husband in. I'm like, can you send a friend or a family member or something? I'm like, that's rude. Come on. Don't send in Mr. Big.
And the movie thing where people pass out easily.
Yeah.
Just like,
yeah.
I mean, that's big news for sure. But that whole reveal, then we see Chris Noth with the baby child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to shit all over Helen Hunt. It's not her fault, but she was not my fave at the time, to be honest. Like, she was kind of one of those at the time. I like Helen Hunt now, but Helen Hunt at the time kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I don't know why. There's just something about her that rubbed me the wrong way.
No, same here.
I wasn't like I didn't like Mad About You. I didn't like What Women Want. I didn't really like her in As Good as It Gets, even though she won an Oscar for it. Like, I didn't like Twister. There's something about Helen Hunt that just didn't do it for me.
She's a director now, and I think she's really good.
Yeah.
I've seen her work, and I think, it's the same thing. I did. She just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
It's not a great part either.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she just wanted to be in a Tom Hanks film and thought it would be a big deal, and it is.
Don't we all?
I would do it.
I appreciate her more now than I did then, for sure.
Why do we think she didn't really get her doctorate? Like, was she seriously like, I mean, and her husband must wonder that. Like, she just gave, you think she would actually double down and do everything because in place of Chuck, like take all that energy? No?
I think she just fell apart afterwards.
Yeah, she stopped.
I mean, like, I just pictured her not being, the person who kind of gets up by their bootstraps. It's like she was the one who kind of just fell apart from it. And like this marriage came along and it was sort of like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to do
this. Oh,
this
you did
now.
a root canal before, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah, because she said something about how, shoot, I was thinking this and then I completely forgot it. It was something along the lines of like how, she never stopped believing that Chuck was still alive. So it's almost like she has like this golden parachute built in where she's just like, if he comes back, I'm going to totally leave you. But then she doesn't leave him.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
I had more appreciation for what her character was probably going through this time than I did in 2000, which is the idea that there's probably like a huge amount of guilt on her part, even though she shouldn't be guilty because it's not her fault. But like, if deep down she really thought he was still alive, but everyone's telling you need to move on, and then she does move on and he comes back. Like,
it's a mind fuck.
Yeah, the guilt she would feel towards Chuck, like maybe she was cheating on him, which she wasn't, and also like the guilt you feel towards yourself for not trusting your gut.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4 years. I mean, that's a really long time.
Yeah,
for somebody to be gone and like not to move on with your life.
Yeah, in 2000 it didn't click with me at all, and this time I was like, she's in a no-win situation here.
No. Yeah, Chuck's the whole world is his oyster now.
Yeah.
He's a better person. He's going to make a shitload of money when he writes his autobiography. Like he'll be on Oprah.
He's gonna kick
on
ass
Survivor.
in the next season of Survivor.
Yeah, he'll be hosting this season of Survivor. And then he'll host a season of Cake Wars, and people will be like, what was up with that?
I would watch that season. I love it.
I would too, actually, yeah.
And then he's like barking orders about time.
He would be so good at it.
Yeah.
So if Wilson had a voice, what do you think it would sound like?
Oh, that's a good question.
I have two.
you think
I have two.
younger or
I have two.
older?
I have two theories, but I want to hear
Okay.
what your theories are.
You go first.
I think he sounds like Tom Hanks.
Yeah. See, I wrote down Peter Scolari or Tim Allen.
Oh, yes, better answer. I should have kept my mouth shut. Much better answer.
I do like the idea that it probably just sounds like Tom Hanks. I mean, it's
Because
yeah,
he's
it's,
talking to himself. That's
Yeah.
the whole reason. Yeah.
I know. But I like the idea of Peter Scolari getting some work.
That would be good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Scolari's fine.
Yeah, he's rolling in that bosom buddies money.
No, he does a lot of
He did
theater work.
Newhart, actually. I should
Yeah.
I should shut up. He's rolling in that sweet Newhart money.
No, he's a busy actor in New York. He does a lot out here.
Oh, good.
Like, yeah.
I like Peter Scolari. I'm not trying to shit on him.
him.
I love
You
him.
hate Helen Hunt.
I
You like
hate
Peter
Helen
Scolari.
Hunt. I like Peter Scolari. I don't hate Helen Hunt anymore.
She's not as annoying.
I
Do you
used
think
to.
do you think she saw like when the movie The Hunt came out this year and then called her agent and goes, "What the hell, guys?"
Yeah, you're fired. You're all fired. This should have been really obvious.
I totally missed the fact that Tom Hanks is married to Rita Wilson. So maybe the Wilson ball sounds like Rita,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Whoa.
Now
Well,
you just
next level.
blew my mind.
Mhm.
What should we talk about the like 4 years later
Yes.
on that?
Yeah,
Who wants
I
to go
really
first?
like the beat that they have where he catches the first thing you see is he spears that fish with like the long branch, and then he is just like, there's no pretense of just cooking the fish anymore. It's just he's just ripping it apart and eating it like the penguin in Batman Returns. And he's got that blank 1,000-yard stare.
That's
It's nothing. And that's
Yes.
so smart because that is exactly what happens when like you are just in quarantine for 8 months.
yes. That and I remember that at the time too, seeing it was the weight loss, the hair, the beard, like all of that is very physical and very obvious, but I remember at the time too, like the empty eyes, like
Mhm.
Mhm.
just being like, it's so sad. It was
Yeah.
just so sad.
And also just like how brave he's kind of gotten in certain regards over that 4 years, like because they show, pre him losing all the weight, he goes up to the top of that rock formation, and he's very like, careful around the edge and everything. And then here, like when he has to retrieve the rope from the dummy that he was set up to do a weight test on that branch, he's like Spider-Man on like the side
Yeah.
of that cliff.
Yeah.
He's still apprehensive, but like he's a lot more brave with like the surroundings than he was.
I'm surprised he didn't die of infection. All those cuts and bruises that he had. Like he had big time abrasions.
Yeah.
Ugh.
This island is like my nightmare. It's all like you're dirty and wet and sweaty and cuts
Smelly.
and bugs and blah! Ah.
I am surprised that they never showed him going further into the island at any point. Because
That's true.
the movie's mostly on the beach and like in a cave and things like that. But like I
Mhm.
never got the feeling like and maybe
Went
the island
exploring?
is just like super small or something, but like I just figured he would go into, the brush area more and like, what else is in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he wants to stay at the beach because he's always hoping that somebody's going to float by and
Yeah.
see him. But yeah, he never explores the island. It's not like Lost, which
What
was
if at
a
the
couple
end
years
he-
later.
What if at the end he discovers that like the fire festival was set up for that island?
And he's like, this is even more of a tragedy.
And then everybody thinks that he's just some like trendy like act that would be on stage, and they're just like, are you one of the roadies? He's like, no, I'm not a roadie. And they give him like that shitty sandwich.
Yeah, he's like, even he won't eat it. He's like, no.
Yeah.
I love it. I hope that movie happens too. I would watch it.
It'd be good. Yeah.
Let's see, what else did I put in my notes?
Who do you think would be, what other actors, or female or male, do you think would be not maybe as good as Tom Hanks in this role, but like you would want to watch just basically holding a screen for over an hour with no dialogue, just doing stuff on an island?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, Tilda Swinton. I think she would be interesting.
Dude, she would just fly off that island. You know she's not real. She'd just levitate off.
That reminds me of there was a running joke once on F This Movie that one of the listeners sent in, and they said that like they pictured Tilda Swinton in between movies in a full wedding dress, just walking in and out of the ocean.
She is such a kook. I would love a whole podcast of people just making up stories about Tilda Swinton. That's great. But she is fascinating to watch, Margo. That is a really good pick. See,
yeah, she's just quirky and
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of like, because Tom Hanks is so incredibly likable, and you have like so much goodwill towards him that I think like another equivalent would be like a Sandra Bullock or
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. I'd be like, they should fucking set that island on fire. And
I just want to see him like start a fire and just be like, oh
yeah.
He's like complaining to Wilson about how it's not safe for conservatives in California.
Wilson rolls himself into the ocean. I'm like, who else would be good in this?
Back in his prime, Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, you love Michael J. Fox.
I do.
Yeah, we all do. You're a monster if you don't.
Yeah.
I'm like, who else?
Sylvester Stallone.
That would be a totally different kind of movie.
Totally. He would like fight the island.
There'd be a montage of him running up the rock.
See, he's not an everyman enough for that.
Yeah.
That's a totally different movie.
If it was Travolta, he could run his hand through the beach and be like, "Oh, Sandy."
That's such a good pick. Oh my God, I'm dying. Oh, you're making me cry. It's so funny.
I think Kevin Costner would be good, but
obviously,
he would be the guy being pissed off that anyone was trying to save him. He would just like stick his hand up and shake his head no.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. No.
I'm like, I said Sandra Bullock. What about I'm like, John Cusack. Joan Cusack. How about Joan Cusack?
I would watch that.
I'm like, I would watch a movie with Joan Cusack on a deserted island.
Bill Murray.
That would be a hilarious movie.
Mhm.
Although he does melancholy really well.
He does. He does.
Dan Aykroyd, and you just hear all the crazy shit he has to say after being isolated for 4 years.
One of his conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I want to watch the John Travolta one so bad.
He could have been in this movie in 2000, like, because he was like still at the height of his star power. Like, there was like a list of, like 10 actors who could be like the lead of Castaway, and he probably would have been on that list at that point.
Ooh, Jeff Bridges. How about Jeff Bridges?
The dude?
Yeah,
The dude.
The dude.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I would say Jeff Bridges as the dude.
With the bathrobe and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good.
And then the after he's Beau Bridges. 4 years later.
I just want to see the dude on the raft, like fighting the waves, and he's like, "Hold on, man, there's a beverage here."
Another good movie. I would watch that one. I looked up who won the Oscar that year, who beat Tom Hanks, and it was Russell Crowe for Gladiator.
Oh,
I'm
God.
like,
That
He's
movie.
good in other stuff, but like Gladiator is, you just have to be an action hero in that one, really.
yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm looking at like Best Picture. Gladiator won that year. I'm like,
What?
Yeah.
I'm like, really? And then Traffic won for Best Director, Steven Soderbergh.
hmm
I'm like, yeah, Julia Roberts, Aaron Brockovich. I'm like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine.
She's good in that.
She is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's on fire. Sip my coffee. That's fine. But Gladiator, I'm like, does anyone talk about Gladiator anymore? I don't know.
No.
That's a whole other topic about how the Oscars get shit wrong. Maybe
I watched Unhinged this week, speaking of Russell Crowe.
Oh, you watched which one?
Unhinged?
Oh, and?
Nope.
Is it hinged?
Unhinged. The one where he's
No.
Oh, sorry.
No.
But, yeah.
My
Yeah.
bad joke.
Yeah, no, sorry. I screwed up your bad joke. I'm sorry. So, yeah, it was like really, like, I kind of figured it would be sort of mean-spirited in like an exploitation type of way, but it was a little bit too much where I'm like, this isn't fun, and that's the whole point. So, yeah.
Also,
It's kinda crazy that like Castaway was like a movie that would gross like $200 million domestically in 2000, and now it would probably be like on Netflix if it
I
came
know.
out.
Yeah.
I love going back and looking at the movies that were popular like 20 years ago, and it's just they don't. I sound like such an old lady. They don't make them like they used to, but like I looked up other movies that came out in December, and like things like Shadow of the Vampire came out in
I
December.
don't even know that.
That's the one with like Willem Dafoe as the vampire, I think.
Yeah,
It's like-
he's
it's-
Mac Breck.
Yeah, it's such a weird movie. And I'm like, I can't believe it came out in a theater. Like my sister and I saw it in a theater. It's such a
Mhm.
but it's not for teenagers. It's not a Marvel movie. It's not, I don't know. It's just they don't make stuff like that. Well, nothing comes out in theaters now, but when things came out in theaters, something like
Yeah.
that would
I
have gone
remember-
right to Netflix.
Yeah, that like winter break, I remember going to see Quill with Jeffrey Rush, and it was about the Marquis de Sade, and it was like a sellout. Try pulling that off in 2020.
Right? I'm going through my notes. I want to make sure that I hit on everything. I talked about his shitty coworkers. I like that the movie doesn't do a whole like, whoa, everything's so different now after he's rescued. So we don't get like a ton of scenes of him going, oh, you know, I'm trying to think what would be different in 4 years.
What's an iPod?
What's an iPod? Exactly.
Yeah.
Something like that. They don't bother with any of that. So
no,
that's
it's
good.
just the Tennessee Titans. That's the only time.
Yeah.
That's the marker.
Yeah, because he's gone from like the mid 90s until 2000 in the movie, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he doesn't ask about Y2K, which is good.
He would have totally missed out on Titanic.
Oh, so sad.
Mm-hmm.
He missed As Good as It Gets.
He missed An American Werewolf in Paris.
He has so much catching up to do.
He missed the Venga bus.
Oh, so if you were stranded on a deserted island, what would you want? Like, what would you bring? If you could have one thing, let's say that.
Oh, another person.
Yeah, right? I guess that's the perfect answer.
Somebody that's handy and knows what they're doing. I'll be good at the repartee.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I said something to David, like, I would bring you. And he's all, that's not nice. You would make me stranded on the deserted island. And I'm like, but I want to be with you. That's selfish. Somebody has to stay with the kid. I'm like, oh, I guess. Do you guys want to hear some of the other movies that came out in December 2000?
Yes.
Okay. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Still good.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I should rewatch it.
What's up?
Proof of Life.
Who's in that?
That's Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe and Meg Ryan.
Oh, they had their affair on that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then when you watch the movie, you're like, what put you in the mood? Because that's not the movie.
It's not a very good movie. I don't remember liking it.
I remember it being really boring, and then David Caruso shows up like 3/4 of the way into the movie as like Russell Crowe's mercenary friend, and it's like, where were you the rest of this movie? You're like the thing that's keeping me going.
That's weird because people don't usually say that about David Caruso.
No.
This is true.
Snatch came out in December 2000.
I like Snatch.
It's okay.
I remember liking it at the time. It had Brad Pitt, and I had quite the crush on Benicio del Toro at the time. So
yeah, same.
I was happy to see him in anything.
Did you like him in Traffic?
I did.
Yeah, he's good in that.
Yeah.
That was the same month, wasn't it?
Yeah, Traffic is on the list.
Oh.
Good call.
Crouching Tiger and Traffic were the first two movies I saw by myself in a movie theater.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I remember this was right after first semester of my freshman year of college, and I was at the point where I was tired of having to explain to my friends what these indie movies were that I wanted to see. And at the time, like, this was before Crouching Tiger and Traffic became like somewhat Oscar contender mainstream. So like it was still like kind of like the people who follow film like knew about them, and I was just like, I don't want to explain this to my friends. I'm just gonna go. And yeah, it's I've been going solo to movies ever since. Well, not entirely, but I'm not like Chuck Noland on the island.
You've got that 1,000-mile stare,
Yeah.
waiting for Broken Hearts Gallery to start.
Just eating popcorn.
Margo, do you go to the movies by yourself ever?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm totally fine doing that.
Yeah, I go by myself back when we could go. I used to go by myself all the time. I started going when I was a teenager.
Same.
Yeah, I'd go to the Dollar House and see whatever was playing. I didn't care. I would just see it. So that's why I saw like Aliens like 16 times or something, because it just played like for months and months. So other December 2000 movies. Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh
I
my
don't think I've
god.
ever made my way through that.
You haven't made your way through it? Is that what you said?
I think I've turned it off like the 1 or 2 times I've tried to watch it.
I saw it in the theater, but I have never revisited.
Wasn't the thing with that movie? They're stoners, but it's PG-13, so they never show them
Yeah.
Yeah.
getting high. Okay, yeah.
It's probably a really fine movie for people who are younger than me. I wasn't into it. It wasn't my jam.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of not my jam, The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, that movie's not good.
My husband loves it. He loves it. He thinks it's legit funny. And I'm like, really? Because when I saw it, I was pretty indifferent. It's
David Spade.
It's it's a Disney animated movie where like David Spade plays like a prince that's turned into a llama.
Wow. No, sorry.
Yeah, David says it's really funny. I was like, I believe you. I don't remember thinking
Disney Plus.
straight to Disney Plus.
Straight to Disney Plus.
You already mentioned The Family Man that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Finding Forrester.
I just rewatched that.
I know.
Sean Connery passed away. It holds up. It's like one of those movies that I liked at the time, and then in the 20 years since, I was like, oh God, I can't believe I bought into that Finding Forrester bullshit. But then when I watched it again, I'm just like, oh, this is still good.
I remember liking that one.
Yeah.
Also, Miss Congeniality.
That's funny. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Movie.
I like that movie. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
That's a good movie.
Which I
It's
really
a good soundtrack.
really good soundtrack.
Give that another chance.
I really love that one. And then the last one was 13 Days.
That's a good one. That was like in Costner's floundering period where like he started to do supporting work instead of being the leads
Right.
of movies. And because this was after like not too long after The Postman. And I remember Costner's New England accent is one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. And it almost completely shit tanks the movie, but it's such a good movie that it doesn't.
So his New England accent better or worse than Diane Lane's Boston in Perfect Storm?
It's worse. Of the Let Him Go
Damn.
Boston dialect, it's so much worse.
You should talk about this on your Costner cast.
Yeah.
That I'm going to keep recommending.
That's coming soon in 2028.
Do you want to hear about some of the top songs of 2000?
Yes.
Yeah.
This one you couldn't get away from. Santana and Rob Thomas, Move. Oh my God. Oh, that
I'm
was
still listening to
everywhere.
that song.
It's
Yeah.
everywhere. It was everywhere.
I love this song. Destiny's Child, Say My Name.
That song is awesome.
It's good. Yeah.
It's a good song. Cisco, the Thong Song.
I used to like that. I used to like that
That's a
song
good
a lot.
song. Madonna, Music. That's a good jam.
I like that one.
Macy Gray, I Try.
That's her one good song.
It's one great song. And Eminem, The Real Slim Shady.
Oh yeah, you couldn't get away from that one either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I saw Macy Gray in concert. She opened up for the Dave Matthews Band.
Wow.
I know.
Was it in 2000?
I'm a white lady. I love Dave Matthews Band.
Well,
Yeah.
what you say?
I was super into the Dave Matthews Band. I saw him like multiple times, but one time Macy Gray opened and she was really, really great. She was super funky and fun, and I liked her. But yeah, that song was like, she never had another hit after that. It was just that.
It happens. Yeah. Somebody has a great song and you're like, oh, this is a real talented person and they're kind of wacky. This will be fun. And you never hear from them again.
Yeah. That's how I feel
Yeah.
about Terrence Trent D'Arby. I'm like, whatever happened to
Bless his
that
heart.
dude?
Bless his heart.
Mm-hmm. I remember in high school, Thong Song came out like right at the end of my senior year of high school, and I thought I was like on top of the world and the greatest thing ever because I was a graduating senior, and I danced to like that whole Cisco album like on somebody's truck. Like I was on like the flatbed of their pickup truck, and like we had like a dance party, and we basically just left the Cisco album on.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
Now, if that happened, it would be straight to Amazon Prime.
Adam, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm apparently the co-host of that movie. Now you can find me.
You've been promoted.
I have. Sorry. I write and am sometimes on the podcast at F This Movie, which is the letter F thismovie.com. And I sometimes I'm on, shows like Dorking Out and other podcasts as a guest, and I retweet all of the times that happens on my Twitter, which is @RiskeAdam, and you can find all my stuff there.
And everyone should go to F This Movie and read Adam's stuff. It's always super great.
Mm-hmm.
Margo, where can they find you?
You can find me on social media at Brooklyn Fitchick, and my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And if you like the sound of our voices, you're a sucker. And we co-host another podcast called What a Creep, where we talk about a creep every week and then end the episode with someone who's not a creep. We're having a ton of fun. You should listen. And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingoutshow.com. And you could email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com if you want some stickers. We have some really cute stickers. And you can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram, where I post pictures of beer and bread and my dogs. This was super fun. I'm glad we talked about Castaway. This was such a fun rewatch.
Yeah, this was my second rewatch of it just this year, and I think like I'm going to be watching it a lot more often than I was before. It's a great movie.
It's an excellent movie, yeah.
It's really good. It's a movie for our times.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson!